Okay,
We're
Missy, we're 1 week away from Easter.
chirp chirp.
None of us have any bunny ears or anything, but surprise, surprise, for Easter Sunday, we thought that a really good movie would be The House Bunny.
Yes, I have to tell you, this was a struggle to get through for me.
Oh, because it was, you mean cringe struggle
Cringe,
or?
cringe, cringe. I think I found it more funny when I was younger and
Hmm.
maybe watched it like in my, I don't want to say teens, but like I guess teen when I was looking at colleges. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This movie, along with like all those other college-y movies, gave me such unrealistic expectations for what college was like.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Which I don't know
very,
if it's
yeah.
because I went to a city school or not, but like we could talk about that later on. But this was cringe to get through. And I had to keep reminding myself that it was satirical and like they were overdoing it. Like she purposely was being super skimpy and super dumb blonde. At certain points, I just was logical brain Misty was like, this makes no sense. So I'm excited to dive in with you.
It's, yeah, it is very, I think, different from what we probably would consider a rom-com in modern day. I don't know if that would be filmed today, or
1,000%.
if it was filmed today, it would much have a lot more, I think, I don't know, just filters around it. But yeah, it was definitely unfiltered, I think. So do you want to start with the kind of the plot, the characters, and then we'll get into it?
Yeah, so the House Bunny is about Shelley, who is ejected from the Playboy Mansion. She is an aspiring centerfold. However, she gets kicked out of the Playboy Mansion and she signs on to make over these hopelessly uncool, struggling sorority sisters. This movie came out in August or on August 22nd, 2008, and it stars Anna Faris, Colin Hanks, which was a major shock to me considering Tom Hanks is such a huge actor and like I would not expect his son to be in a movie about a Playboy bunny, but side note, and Emma Stone.
Okay, honestly, for what the movie was, I am very excited to talk about all the cast in the movie. Just,
It was a stacked cast.
yeah. And I think because they were all before they rose to where they are now,
Yeah.
and to see them really try and own at least what these roles were, because I feel as if these people, if they were to do this role today, I think they would have it would just be different. So the fact that it was the right time, the right place kind of for them to have filmed this before they became these A-list stars, I think was just really a good stacked up cast for that time.
I just want to make a note, peeps, that last week Paula mentioned that I'm the one who gives all the random tidbit facts about like how movies connect to other outside pop culture things. And this week Paula texted me the same thing that was the top of my notes list that we both noticed that this was a Happy Madison production, which I don't know if many of you know is Adam Sandler's production company, which when I saw that I was like, this makes so much sense that Adam Sandler produced this, considering half the cast are members that are always in his other movies that he produces. And funny enough, Paula texted me with the tidbit of information that I'll let you introduce the tidbit.
This was the first female-driven film from Adam Sandler's production company, Happy Madison, which I honestly think was the right move so that women could kind of champion the ownership of it, and
Yeah.
also just from the writers to the producers having this be a female-driven movie, especially given how if you watch it not knowing that, I think you would question whether or not it was a feminist type of movie, which I think it absolutely was. At the end of the day, yes, there were moments where I think that as a female, why do you have to play to that trope of being really pretty and sexy to get boys' attention? I get that that's the whole thing about the film, but I also think even Anna Faris and her character find that when you're just genuinely who you are, you'll get really good kind of confidence, not just in your love life, but I think in your own life, just being who you are, and you'll find beauty in that and to really champion that. But I do also, on the other hand, I do think that there is this element, at least for me, a girl in her late 20s who doesn't wear makeup on a daily basis, who doesn't even really know how to put herself together anymore after COVID. I think there is this element of, well, if a girl wants to do that and looks and feels sexy and put on makeup and things like that, that should also, come without any backlash. So I
Hmm.
think both sides are true of this film. Yes, on the one hand, that is unfortunately what guys are attracted to.
Hmm.
So I get that. And there's nothing wrong with a girl, trying to put herself together to appeal for that. But on the other hand, too, no, just take off all of that and be who you are, and you'll still be very beautiful at the end of the day.
So I totally agree with your point. However, I think we need to, the key element here is that this was set in college. And I
Yeah,
think being in college versus our late 20s is a very different dynamic and
yeah,
different setting. Not that boys have matured, because those boys on the college campus that I saw were still the same boys that I swipe left and right for on dating apps. But I definitely think that's something to keep in mind. I also want to say before we get into the other big thing that was a huge, I'm always, when you come on here, I'm always like, is it more rom or is it more com?
yeah,
And I was really struggling with this because initially I was going to say it's more calm because I feel like the rom is kind of in the background. However, I think the rom isn't the typical, boy girl, like, oh, happily ever after. I think the romance is, and we've talked about this in several of our podcast episodes already, is the friendships, like how the romance, you can fall in love with yourself and with your family and finding your chosen family. And I think that was really the key theme throughout, like you said, like loving who you are, having others love you for who you are, and just being yourself. And so I think that was the real love story throughout. And at the end, too, like Colin Hanks's character, I forget what his name was in the movie. Oh, Oliver. He ended up loving Shelley for the stupid blonde bunny that she was. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that was really beautiful too, is that even though all of these girls were so different, had their own little quirks and qualms, they still, even after Shelley left, they still kept some of their beauty tips from Shelley, but they reverted back to who they were.
yeah, yeah. No, I 1,000% agree. I think that the biggest theme for this movie is that sense of having people who make you feel like you belong. And so that is a good, I think, take on the if it's a more rom or calm film. I still think that if we were to ask a reviewer for Rotten Tomatoes' sake, it would be more calm
Oh, a
at
thousand
face value.
percent.
Yeah.
I mean, I know every episode so far you've asked me like my five moments.
Yeah.
I don't have five moments for this episode. I have five lines. So I'm so excited to dive into those when it's time,
Okay.
because I have five iconic lines that literally just made me do a metaphorical spit take and like literally hyena laugh or dolphin laugh, whatever we want to call it. They just, I mean, so funny. But I want to say that I went into this movie, especially now older, going bullshit, 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 because I think this movie set such unrealistic expectations for me when
Yeah.
I was a teenager. And I mentioned this in the beginning, going into college.
Yeah.
Like, I thought college was parties and catty and beautiful boys and sororities and Greek life. And if they very well may be that, I also went to school in the city, so maybe it was different for me. I don't know. But it just, this movie, along with like Sydney White, Legally Blonde, all those other like movies that take place during those college years, just
Yeah.
really, I feel like did not get a grasp on what it really is to be a college kid.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like now movies really do, especially more modern rom-coms these days, are really understanding the idea of what it's like to be on a college campus and be a college kid.
Yeah.
But
No,
maybe that's just like
I
my older
1,000%.
and wiser self coming in.
Yeah. No, Missy, I've noticed that in a lot of our episodes, you do a really good kind of let's take a step back and see how realistic that movie is. Whereas I think I just watch it fully for what it is and the fact that it's a movie. So I never really ask myself. But hands down, I think a lot of the rom-coms we watch, they're not realistic. As sad as it sounds, I mean, we have to talk about the happily ever after, and I don't know if there always is this ideal vision that the producers try to instill that's equatable in life. But I do think the reason why we love these rom-coms so much, even if they're not quote unquote realistic, is I
Mhm.
think because, like you said, there's so many greater themes within the movies that are realistic, like the families, the friends, and when you talk about the college aspects, and I didn't have that classic Greek life experience as well at my college because mine was also closer to a city. But I think that it's kind of maybe not as drawn out, but I do think it's
I would
kind of
love it
that.
if some of our, I didn't mean to cut you off. I would love it if our viewers who did go to big colleges like that, college
Yeah.
campuses. Obviously, I know Greek life in the South is a lot different than Greek life,
Yeah.
in other parts of the country. So I'd love to hear other people's perspectives on this, considering you and I maybe are a little bit narrow on this. But
Yeah.
I will say from the realistic perspective, the whole point of the movie was they needed to raise money to save their house, yet left and right, there's money being thrown everywhere. Like, where do they get the money for all the clothes and the haircuts and, the makeovers and then the giant Aztec party, which, by the way, I can't even imagine that would ever happen on a real college campus. But like, that's just my logical brain thinking. And you're right. I need to step back and be like, okay, I'm clearly watching this to escape reality. Like
Yeah.
this is a fantasy. It's almost like watching, like reading Cinderella. You're reading watching or reading a fairy tale. So,
Yeah.
I definitely need to take a step back. And let's be real. Our podcast is called Happily Ever After. I do not think Shelley and Oliver would end up happily ever after. They'd probably go on a couple more dates and then be like, yeah, no, we're not a match. Like
Yeah.
this is not gonna work. Whereas, Darcy and Bridget, I think they live happily ever after.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you watch the third Bridget Jones Diary movie, they do live happily ever after until Darcy's character, spoiler alert, passes. Yeah, but you have to watch it if you haven't watched it because
Oh
what
my
they
God,
do
I
with
don't
that
know if I
story.
can now.
No, but I mean, he still shows up in the movie, which is really sweet. But
Okay, so we're tangenting. Anyway,
yeah, yeah. No,
so
I was gonna say we're talking about happily ever after, but we haven't even talked about the meet cute moment, which we do on every episode.
yes,
But we have so many meet cute moments because there's Emma Stone's character meet cute moment, and then there's Shelley's meet cute moment. But I think for both, I think that it makes sense because they're just out and about on just either, let's see, in Emma Stone's case, she is trying to woo the guy from in a guy's frat. And that seems pretty realistic.
oh yeah, with the whole hose scene,
Yeah,
the car wash, is that the scene we're talking about?
I think so.
And then Mona ruins the whole Mona moment where she like busts, like puts this hose on full blast. Like, I felt so bad for Emma Stone's character. Like, you know what, Mona? There's a time and place, and you should have been a girl's girl in that time and place.
Yeah. So that I think is realistic. And then I think that Shelley's meet cute moment with the guy who was posting the stuff on,
Oliver.
yeah, on well, I guess now we don't really have, well, I guess if you're in New York, people still post things on light posts.
I guess I definitely think yes. For maybe 2008, the 2000s, it was totally realistic. I feel like maybe now it would have been like if she saw him maybe in like a Starbucks coffee shop making like a Canva sign or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But I definitely think the meet cute moment was super for both of them was definitely relatable and realistic.
Yeah.
Um, but it just the whole movie just is so comical about like picking up guys and how you have to be a certain way and look a certain way. And it's like I I would remember thinking to myself when I was younger, like, oh, I can't be too smart. I can't be this way. Like I took this movie for like the Bible. Like Shelley
Mm.
was literally, my Bible and telling me what to do. It definitely shaped how I went about dating and talking to guys and definitely made me feel like I had to dumb myself down.
Well, Missy, it's funny that you mentioned the Bible because this is for Easter. And I did look into kind of how we could tie in the Easter bunny as the connection, because that's literally, she's a bunny. And if you're thinking about Easter bunnies, I have it here. They were historically a symbol of fertility and new life from the Germanic goddess. Eostre, Eostre. I wonder if that's where the lip balm Eos is. No, no. Eos, I think, is another kind of feeling. But anyway, so I think in a very loose rom-commy way, Shelley does have this moment of being that new sense of this new chapter for the girls of Zeta. And so
Mhm.
even though she's probably not a quote unquote Easter bunny, I do think that this whole bunny aspect and her coming from the Playboy Mansion, but then starting this new chapter really ties in well with our Easter theme. But regardless, going back to your point, it is very it is kind of because this movie, again, female driven in terms of producers and writers, etc. But the amount of hostility towards how a woman has to be, I think could be talked about a lot. Yeah, I don't know
Not
how.
even in just the speech, but in the appearance. Like, I feel like every scene, Shelley's clothes get skimpier and skimpier and skimpier. Like, girl must have fasted for months to be in this movie and wear those
Yeah.
outfits. Like, she looked amazing. Um, And so, a lot of my favorite lines were were lines where it's like, wait, what? How is that even a line that someone would say and make
Yeah.
sense? So, like, for example, like, wait, Natalie, you're being too smart. When would anyone ever say that to someone, when they're talking to their girlfriends or to their, a man and be like, stop, you can't be this, especially
Yeah.
too smart. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, because that doesn't exist for a guy.
Yeah.
Not
Wait, you're
really.
being too jockey.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm trying to think about Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes.
And
Oh my
when Ryan Gosling's character is trying to build up
Steve
um
Carell.
yeah, Steve Carell's character, and doesn't he say something like you're talking too much or don't talk about that? Like it's kind of almost dumb it down for a guy.
Yes, but I feel like he's also in a different situation. Like he's a divorcee and
Yeah.
like he hasn't dated since the 80s or the 90s. So like he's trying to tell him like don't talk about your ex-wife too much or don't talk about your kids on a first date too much. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I get where you're going with it, but I think it's different circumstances.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking what would the equivalent be for a guy watching something similar, but I don't love the fact where it's for girls, you have to be smarter. You have to have your posture fixed and everything. But yeah, I think my question for you, though, is overall, would you say that this is a very positive movie, or would you say it's more a negative movie?
That's a really tough question.
Is it it depends on the time of day when you ask me the question kind of question?
And I think it also depends on who's watching it. Like as a almost 30-year-old, I found it very negative and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is what young girls like when I was 18 were looking and watching and thinking this is what they had to be in college or how to act to get a man." So,
Yeah.
yes, but then at the same time, I'm almost 30 now and I'm taking things very literal and serious to your point you mentioned earlier in the podcast. Like this is not reality. It's supposed to be a comedy, satirical. It's like Neighbors or Grown Ups. Like it's in that same family of like it's an over dramatization, if that's even a word.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely think it's a funny feel-good movie. Like if you're looking for a good laugh, I just don't know if I came out of it feeling positive.
Yeah. No,
That
I think
answers
that's
your question.
pretty. No, no, no. That's pretty in par with the Rotten Tomatoes breakdown because I'm looking at if we get into the data and the statistics, the
Love
tomato
it.
meter says that it's 43%. So that's the overall Rotten Tomatoes review is 43%. And so critics generally found the plot predictable and cliched, which I agree. I think you
Thousand
can
percent check.
pretty much know what's going to happen. But
Mhm.
I think the reason why it got such a good review is because of Anna Faris's performance. And then I agree with that because it's hard, especially because Anna Faris is not, she's very put together in real life. So for her to dumb it down that much and make it laughable, I
Mhm.
think does go a long way. And those are some really hard, I can't imagine what the bloopers were like.
I would love to see the blooper reel of this entire movie because I think it would be funnier than the movie itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to say, so two things back to your whole thing about Shelley's character and Anna Faris transforming completely into this person. I want to know how many times they said sexy in this movie. Like,
Oh.
because Shelley says sexy, that's sexy, that's sexy. Oh, that's sexiness. Like, everything is sexy in this movie. And I want to know how many times sexy was said. And then, second thing, I love how when she talks, her voice is like deep but seductive. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like she's like, let's put your sexy pants on, or I love the word piccata. Like it almost
Yeah.
has like a little smoky, like sneaky, steamy to it instead of just talking normally. She had to add that to make her character be more, I guess, bombshell, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's all from, again, Anna Faris's great performance and her take with this character. And so to kind of round out your thoughts too, the consensus was that audience score, it held to 50%, which I agree. I think that there was a massive wave of being so iconic with the cast. But then also, one of the reasons why this movie is so beloved is because it has some of the most quotable and GIF worthy moments, which I agree. I
Oh
think,
my God, I can't wait to tell you my five favorite lines.
okay, tell me what your five favorite lines were.
Sorry, I just feel like this was such an easy transition for it.
Yeah, tell me what
Okay,
your five
so
favorite moments were.
number five, one being the best, my favorite line. So five is looks like a mini Playboy mansion when she goes up to like Greek Row and sees these sorority houses,
Okay.
which it totally would, I totally see where she's coming from. Like they do look like little mini mansions, especially some of the schools in the South that have these gorgeous Greek rows. Like that was honestly a very like, okay, Shelley, you're not bad. I see what you're saying here. I see where your brain is going. Okay, number four was who knew steam could be hot when she does the Marilyn Monroe moment?
That's probably the most GIF worthy moment.
1,000%.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and then number three was, and I thought this was actually so creative, and I really like when I heard her say this line, I paused the movie for a second. I was like, that actually makes sense. When she said, like an orphanage for old people, when she's meeting Oliver for the first time, and they're talking about how he's looking for volunteers in the nursing home,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
he's explaining what it is, and she's like an orphanage for old people. And
Yeah.
like she's not wrong, but
Yeah.
like she's not right either. And so it kind of made sense and I loved it. Okay, my second favorite line, and honestly, my second and first are really tied together because they're honestly the ones I quote the most in my real life. So the second one is instead of the mahi mahi, can I just have one mahi because I'm not that hungry?
That was
Whenever
a
my
good
family
one.
and I are out to dinner and we see mahi mahi on the menu, we literally just quote that line to each other. Like
Oh,
it is
funny. I never even
so
thought about it like that.
it is like the most quotable line in my family, probably.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, and then number one, my all-time favorite, which I always use all the time. The eyes are the nipples of the face.
I don't get that.
Come on.
I don't get that because, yes, if you think about it, but like, how does that even just come up in your mind?
Because it's Shelley, and in Shelley's world, it makes sense. But like, if you think about it, boobs,
Yeah.
titties, whatever we want to call them, nipples are the thing used for like, okay, for the very basic human fundamental purpose of boobs, nipples are what babies use to extract milk from. So
Yeah.
they're the important, most important part of, the boobs.
Yeah.
Your eyes see everything and can detect danger and like without your eyes you're relying on your other senses, so like it kind of is the most important feature on your face. And I feel like everyone's always like, oh, your eyes can tell you this, your eyes tell this, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I see that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know if I'm making any sense, and I'd love to hear what people
No.
think.
Well, it's funny because when I did some, digging into this movie, that's a very, very relatable, quotable line, apparently. But to me, it took me a second for me to even, one, think about where I would ever use that. The eyes are the nipples of the face. And then two, no offense, but like your boobs don't do much for you. Like your boobs are,
Okay, but you're thinking about it from a female perspective. Think about it from a male perspective.
yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
guys are always known for staring at tits, or when you're cold, what's the first indicator that you're cold?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
nips go hard, you're a little nippy.
Yeah.
So, it kind of, for me, it made perfect sense. And it was so funny. And whenever my brother and it's just so probably awkward to say my brother and I when we're talking about this quote, but like Jake and I, we both love rom-coms. And one of the
Yeah.
biggest quoted lines that we always say to each other is, the eyes are the nipples of the face. When we're
Oh,
talking about like, where when I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to go on a date or I'm doing something, he'll be like, well, just remember the eyes are the nipples of the face.
oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to
This is now
this
going to become part of your regular language now.
yeah, like it'll be so funny. I'll just be probably in the most ser these funny lines always come to me in the most serious moments too. And then I'm just like dying laughing inside, but I can't project that laughter outside, like
Yeah.
in a freaking work meeting or something. And now I know that on a next work all hands, I'm just gonna be thinking about that,
You're going to be
trying to
looking at
have like
everyone's eyes and being like, they're
the
the
nipples of your
nipples.
face. Oh
What
my
were some
God.
of your favorite moments? Because I just talked about mine. Tell me some of your favorite moments
Oh
as
my
we
gosh.
spend the
I
moment.
thought super funny was definitely the steam burns. That I just oh my gosh. I can't it was so funny, but I can't imagine how if you somebody were to really do that in real life, how much it would burn. But yes, I also really like the old people home and just kind of the whole thing about old people. It's so funny because for me, I think even in the last movie when we talked about Fever Pitch and how I mentioned that I like that movie because it had such a big kid presence. The same way with the old family home in this movie. I think I don't know, I'm a grandma. Everybody knows I'm a grandma. And so I just get very, I
I
think,
would love to know if they went to an actual old people's home
yeah.
and filmed that, or if they just like staged that whole thing.
That would be very sad. But and then the below the police officer scene I think was really funny where he
That
was
was
like
so
blow because she's obvious he thinks that she probably was driving under the influence and she was like blow like the like you so that was so funny because she was
yeah.
like you want me to give you a blow job right here right now.
That's
Um
all she's ever known.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think overall, though, something I didn't talk about, but what I really appreciated in this movie, and I think it is because now that I know it was first female-driven film, I think it makes so much more sense now because even we talk about it with women just in society being the caretakers of everybody, and we have that kind of unspoken role, but we also, that's just women. That's why when you have a female manager, you feel a lot more comfort. But the reason why I like this movie is because I think innately it's actually a lot the Shelley and her support of people is actually really positive. The way that she kind of says, rather than, telling your friend, I don't like that idea, she says it in a way where it's kind of like, no, that's a really interesting point of view. I think if we were to do this, or how about this? And so she never says no, which I try to work on in my personal life, where I don't want to just say, that's ugly, or I don't like that.
I agree. Shelley's a very positive person, and I think that's such a strong takeaway. She never comes out fully and is like, I don't like that idea, or that's ugly. She was like, let's try and sexify this, or this
Yeah,
idea is great, but let's try this instead. Like,
yeah,
her outlook is just very like sunshines and rainbows, and I think it's
yeah,
really, really rewarding. And to go off that point, it goes back to the final scene at the end where she gives that speech.
yeah,
And the rude other house mother is like, you meant metaphor. And she's like, no, I meant meteor. And she just is giving this speech that sums up the whole point of the movie, like you and I said, about loving yourself and finding your family and blah, blah, blah. And so it shows that Shelley's true mother instinct was always there. She
yeah,
just needed it to come out in a setting where it made sense for her. And it's honestly ironic how she has such instinctual mother instincts when she was raised in an orphanage and she didn't have like per se a mother.
yeah, yeah,
So
I agree. The fact that we didn't talk about the biggest thing of the movie was just how she memorizes names, which is completely different, but I can't believe we haven't talked about it for this entire 40 minutes.
I can't
Missy,
even do it. I'm sitting here trying to do it and I can't do it.
Missy.
Paula.
It was honestly kind of, it just
I
felt,
love that that was her quirk. Like it
yeah,
wasn't like, oh, I can. open a beer bottle with my boobs or like I can, do something. It was that was her weird, funny party thing, party
Okay,
trick.
but imagine Missy, you introduce yourself to someone, and then I go, "Hey, I'm Paula," and then you go, "Hey, I'm Missy," and then automatically I go, "Missy." Wouldn't you freak out?
I'd be like, this girl's on something.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that I don't know, these movies, when they're created, this is what kind of what I want to end on, but I don't know if you want to end on this, but
No,
what
no,
I
we can
kind of
end on
want
what
to
you
end
want.
on is I want to be in the brains of people who write these kinds of movies. To be honest,
Oh,
Mean Girls to me is so good because of
yeah,
how witty it is, because of how clever freaking,
Tina Fey.
yeah, Tina Fey is. I can't believe
I
I
think
didn't
it's the
even
writers
remember.
then that you're talking about. Like, how do people come up with these clever lines or these clever quotes or idiot or mannerisms of these characters? And then it's also like you said, Anna Faris or the characters doing such a good job getting in that character. Like
Yeah,
it's like Gretchen Wieners in Mean Girls, like, or Amanda
yeah.
Seyfeld's character, where she's like, there's a 40% chance it's like that whole
Like
line would not have been iconic without Amanda putting all of her effort into it.
or someone thinking about let's go with this or
Yeah.
so I want to let I think I need to spend another episode talking about literally the brains of these people because I don't know when we're going to review Mean Girls, but when we do, oh my God.
It has to be on October 3rd.
Okay, yeah, let's do it around October 3rd. Of course, duh, Paula, what the heck? But it's
Gosh,
just
aren't you a mouse?
gruel.
Okay, clearly we
See,
need
that's
to
what I'm
end this
saying.
episode because we're just going back and forth now.
No, but like that's what I'm saying. This movie, I just want to end with the fact that people, okay, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just going to be honest.
Do it. Love it. Let's
A
go.
movie like this, The House Bunny, which is still very good and shows a lot of quotable moments, compared to a movie like Mean Girls, still really makes that bar so different. And I
Totally.
think that, but if we look at House Bunny for what it is, I think it's a really good holistic film, and it does make sense that Adam Sandler's production company would have made it. So
Totally
it
agree.
is, I don't know about a feel good because there's so many things that can be scrutinized about it. But at the end of the day, I think if you haven't watched The House Bunny, and you are looking for a film that can be very dumb, as nice of that's the best way that I can kind of say is if you're just looking for a kind of a dumb film to, you know, after a hard day's work, just let it all out kind of film, this is a good film for you that's got a stellar cast. Like watch it for the cast.
Yeah. If you're looking for just a good, quick laugh, I agree. House Bunny is for you.
Yeah. I don't know if I like the word dumb. It is kind of, you're not going to get anything.
Profound out of it, except maybe that you can order one mahi instead of a mahi mahi.
Okay, see, that starts to make sense. Yeah, I don't know if I got anything out of this movie other than, wow, it's a really good cast, and Anna Faris was really good at playing her character. And in talking about character, just staying in character was really, it seemed like it would be a challenge.
I don't know how much Playboy funded this movie.
Oh, but it was filmed at the real
I
Playboy.
know, and Hugh Hefner was in it, and the real bunnies at the time. So I want to know how much of this movie was backed by the Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, I mean, way to kind of sneak that in there. Again, Adam Sandler's connections, I'm sure. But
He's just a genius.
yeah, he is. And it makes me appreciate Adam Sandler a lot more knowing that he, produced this. And really cool stories. I think Anna Faris caught Adam Sandler at his little office studio, whatever, going out. And the meeting for her to pitch this movie wasn't even with Adam Sandler in the room, but she caught his attention when he was leaving. And then he said, "Oh, what are you doing here, Anna?" And she told him, she did the elevator pitch. And then he went back into his office and sat in while Anna Faris pitched this to his production company. And he liked it so much, he stayed in the room as they thought about this. I love your dog.
Or him, he's fine.
But I just thought that was really good of Adam Sandler.
I
Hey, I
didn't know
like
all this. Wait, look at Paula coming in with the tidbits this
it's
week.
Gemini. We're sponsored by Gemini. Not really, but one day.
One day I hope we can get a really great writer who writes one of these amazing rom-coms to come on and talk about just the concept of like an idea and then seeing it through to this funny, amazing movie that we had.
Yeah, let's talk happily ever after.
All right,
Okay.
next week. Stay tuned, friends.
Bye.
Bye.